When an entrepreneur tells me they're going through a tough transition, I want to say, of course you are, because as entrepreneurs, we are always going through transitions. If you're in a tough transition, that probably means you're doing it right. Now, there is one transition that is the hardest for entrepreneurs, and that's what I want to share with you today. I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. Becoming an entrepreneur and deciding to climb the billionaire code, deciding to go and create a business that goes from $0 to making it to where you're actually making money, to moving forward and going past 6 figures, then 7 figures, then 8 figures, and hopefully beyond, is the commitment to being a human being that is in constant and never-ending transition. You will always be changing something in your life. You will always be modifying something in your life. You will always be transitioning, because to go from startup to long-term growth and success, it requires you to modify 100% of your behaviors. Now, on this path, there is one transition that is the absolute toughest for entrepreneurs. And that is the time where we transition from me to we. And I don't think enough people overtly talk about this. The fact is that there is a point in your business, and it happens in a different point for just about every business, but it's usually around the $1 million mark, where you can no longer do it all yourself. For some, it's much lower than that. For some, it's a little higher than that. But the fact is, there comes a point in your business where you have to transition from doing it all yourself to getting help from people around you to building a team. And that transition from me doing it all yourself to we doing it with a team is the hardest transition, because the hardest thing for us to do as entrepreneurs is ask for help. Because we are that small percentage of the population that goes out and makes a new reality every day. We create the future on a daily basis. And the challenge is we have a hard time asking for help for ourselves. I call it the entrepreneurial dilemma. We know we need far more help than the average person to reach our full destination, because we want to do more, we want to contribute more, make more happen. The problem is any request for help makes us feel vulnerable and exposed. And the reason I share this with you, the reason I want to call out this toughest transition, is because so many people don't. In fact, when you look at the marketing out there today, the products out there today, the books out there today, very few of them work or call out the fact that as an entrepreneur, the only way you reach your long-term outcomes, the only way you achieve the change you want to make in the world, is once you get to a certain point in your business, you must build a team. In fact, when you don't build a team, you are in the highest risk category of entrepreneur, the solopreneur. It is all up to you. Everything's on your shoulders. You must do it all, and nobody else is there to help you. In the past 24 hours, my team has done a ton of stuff for a promotion that we have coming up. And we've had artwork being done, funnels being done. We've had promotional materials being done, Facebook ads. We have promotions running out. There's all kinds of things that are going on. And there's no way I possibly could have done all of it by myself. In fact, I play a very small role in the overall project because we passed that 7-figure mark. There's no way I can do everything on my own anymore. But feeling the support of my team in the past 24 hours, feeling how much they've been able to get done, seeing how much there is out there, it makes me realize that the transition from me to we is not only the most important, but once you're willing to make that transition, once you're willing to admit you need help, once you're willing to start transparently asking for help, it is not only one of the most important transitions, it is one of the most rewarding. And it is so hard to feel that as an entrepreneur before you've started to build a team successfully, especially if you started trying to build a team and you've run into barriers, you've had a hard time, you've hired people and had them leave, or you've hired people and asked them to leave because it wasn't working. And so many entrepreneurs I talk to today say things like, oh, I've tried to hire a team, it just didn't work, so no, I won't. I remember being at a high-level mastermind about a year ago, and I was part of a panel of people that were helping an entrepreneur. It was a hot seat type mastermind where everybody was giving him consulting. And I remember one of the people who was on the panel said, I want to be the first self-made billionaire without a team. And my reaction was immediately how incredibly lonely and how incredibly sad. Because the transition from me to we is the toughest transition. It requires us to give up wanting to do it all ourselves. It requires us to give up getting all the credit ourselves. It requires us to drop our ego, be transparent, admit where we have weaknesses, ask for help, and build a team around us who can actually support us. And that is one of the most rewarding transitions you will ever go through as an entrepreneur, because you will learn more about yourself and about the people around you than you will doing just about anything else. So when someone says, I want to be the first self-made billionaire that doesn't have to build a team, I feel terrible for that person. It makes me wonder if they know how much of the richness and excitement they are giving up in being an entrepreneur. Saying that you want to build a ton of success without wanting to build a team, to me, is not only a statement that belies your insecurity with building a team, it also is a statement that shows just how massive your ego is. I always tell entrepreneurs, don't let your ego get in the way of your contribution. When you say something like, I want to be the only self-made billionaire to ever get there without building a team, that is your ego getting in the way of your growth, getting in the way of you building a team, and getting in the way of you making the contribution you can actually make, because it is near impossible to make the argument that anyone can do it all alone. And it's near impossible to make the argument that anyone's going to become a self-made billionaire without ever building a team, unless there's some type of lottery or windfall or inheritance involved. Because putting together the energy and the contribution and the amount of work and the amount of details and the amount of things you have to do to build just a $10 million company, much less a $100 million company, much less a $1 billion company, much less a company that grows to give you $1 billion in wealth all by yourself, that is ego talking. And for anyone who's trying to do it all themselves, I ask you, is your ego getting in your way? Is part of the reason you haven't asked for help because you're afraid to? Is part of the reason you're not getting the help you need because you might harbor some of those same thoughts that you can just do it all yourself? See, when we make this toughest transition from me to we open up an entirely new world of possibility, because there is a finite amount you can do as a human being when you are doing it all yourself. But there is an infinite amount you can do when you learn how to grow, manage, lead, and inspire a team. And far too many entrepreneurs have been taught that it's much harder than it is. They're convinced that they can't. They give up before they start. And that is one of the saddest things to see, because any entrepreneur who's not willing to make this toughest transition from me to we and admit they may need help and are ready to build a team is an entrepreneur who's committed to playing small, making a fraction of the contribution that they can, and limiting any future success that they may have. Don't be that entrepreneur. Make the transition from me to we. Admit you need help. Build a team. Create an empire. And go out and change the world. If you're ready to build a team now and grow it as fast as you possibly can and make the biggest contribution you can, go to billionairecode.com. Answer a few questions from my team. You'll get an opportunity to set up a call with a member of my team and let us show you how we can help you build a team in a way that helps you, grows the people around you, and helps you make the greatest contribution you possibly can. billionairecode.com. Make the transition from me to we, and anything is possible.